Let's just be super fucking clear about something. If you're claiming that you're gonna recognize Palestine as an independent state, but you're gonna demand that they be demilitarized, then it's not an independent state, brah. When I looked up what a country is, this is the most common definition that they had. A country, also known as a nation state, is a distinct territory with defined borders, a permanent population, a government, and the capacity to enter into relations with other countries. Now, some of you might be aware that Palestine not only has none of those things guaranteed to them, places like the UK that are saying they'll recognize them as a state are only going to do so if they demilitarize and meet a bunch of other nonsense conditions. So in other words, you're not. Because all the things that would make someone a sovereign state, like defined borders, the ability to engage in commerce and trade, having a sovereign government that controls those defined borders, having autonomy, having a military, these are all things that the Palestinian people do not have. Which is why it's an insane lie that our media and our political class in the West continues to call it the Israel-Hamas war. It's not a war if only one side has an army. That is the reason why it continues to be absurd when you see hacks like Mike Lawler go on CNN and be like, why aren't they saying this about Russia and Ukraine? Why is the Israeli regime expected to get aid into their enemies? We wouldn't ask Russia to feed the Ukrainians, which is such a bad faith lie because Mike Lawler is a congressman. He fully understands that Russia and Ukraine both have their own sovereign states and sovereign army. He knows that Gaza is occupied territory where they have none of those things. So the comparison to Ukraine and Russia continues to be absurd, and they know it. They're lying. This is all meaningless PR, okay? Because if any of these people were actually serious about a Palestinian state, the first thing they would be demanding is an end to the genocide, and they'd be using their leverage to do so. And the fastest way you can tell that they are not serious about this is because where the fuck are the sanctions? Where's the arms embargo? Where's the trade embargo? When it comes to money and trade, you could hurt them a lot. You could use those points of leverage and power as a way to bring the regime to heel, but you're not. You're not. No, this is just another distraction by all the people saying this so that they can they're hoping that we're going to go back to the status quo of Palestinians being prisoners with no voice, and this lie that they're working on a two-state solution as the Palestinians continue to be crushed under a oppressive apartheid regime and the Israeli borders continue to expand.